Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. It is almost time for the 2023 National Sword Conference, and we're going to be listening to it. We're going to be taking notes. We're going to be talking about it, and we're going to do a little preview starting right now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is Sunday, July the 16th, 2023. It is currently 11 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central Studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. And, well, tomorrow, July the 17th at 7 p.m., the 2023 National Sword Conference begins. Now, I came up with this crazy idea that, hey, I know what we will do. We'll keep up with the 2023 National Conference, right? The National Sword Conference. We'll get everyone to listen and take notes. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll compile all of the notes into a PDF. We'll make that available to everyone. And the main reason we would do this is just to kind of get insight into what's going on in that world of theology, more of the independent fundamental Baptist, the sword of the Lord, that world, that perspective. Just, we will be, given a little insight. I mean, I do a podcast series called Eye on Christianity, so we can kind of keep our eye on what's going on in that part of Christianity. I thought it would be interesting. Then I came up with an idea. Oh, I know what we will do. We will preview the 2022 conference or kind of review the 2022 conference to help us get ready for the 2023 conference. And then there was the whole thing about trying to download the MP3 audio file of the 2022 conference so that I could review it to get us ready for the 2023 conference, but it wasn't an actual download. They sent me an actual thumb drive that it felt like 10 years, and it was delivered by Pony Express. If you've been listening, you've heard all of the drama unfold. And finally, we got the thumb drive. We reviewed one message. And then I was sitting here thinking, well, maybe I'll review some more messages. And then all of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute, the conference actually begins tomorrow. So we don't really have any more time to review the 2022 messages. I'm going to obviously use those messages for sermon reviews moving forward in different ways and different, in some way, shape, or form. I am going to use some audio from the second message of the 2022 conference here in just a few minutes. But I don't know what to expect from the 2023 National Sword Conference. I think we can expect, and I am probably going to say this simply because we've kind of restarted our series on law and gospel. We're going to hear a lot of law, probably a complete obliteration of a proper distinction between law and gospel. we're clearly going to hear some very negative things about Calvinism, because every morning on the conference, if I got the schedule here, I've got the schedule here. Every morning at the conference at 8:30 a.m. So the conference begins tomorrow at 7 p.m. There's 2 speakers tomorrow. Monday, July the 17th at 5 p.m., the exhibitor hall opens there where they're holding the conference. Then at 7 p.m., Shelton Smith will speak. At 8 p.m., Dan Carr Sr. will speak. So that's the schedule for opening night. On day 2, Tuesday, July the 18th, at 8:30 a.m., they have a conference called Combating Calvinism. Combating Calvinism. They have a conference on Wednesday, July the 19th at 8:30 a.m. entitled Combating Calvinism. And then on day 4, Thursday, July the 20th at 8:30 a.m., they hold the same conference, Combating Calvinism, or seminar, I should say, seminar. They have a seminar on all 3 mornings on combating Calvinism. So clearly we're going to hear Calvinism definitely being attacked. I think so. We're going to get law, an obliteration of a proper distinction between law and gospel, and a major thrust at going after Calvinism. Now, I don't know if we really have what the theme is for this year's conference. I don't really know. I'm going to just read their description here. This was written about a month ago, or a little less than a month ago. In less than 1 month, we are planning to be in Walkertown, North Carolina at the Gospel Light Baptist Church for the National Sword Conference. Folks, this is not just another meeting. We have an agenda. Without apology, we believe that this is a crisis hour all across our nation. The nation is crumbling from within and is being stalked from without. Some churches have compromised themselves into irrelevant entertainment centers, while others are quietly vegetating and slowly sinking into oblivion. Such behavior from God's people has little or no influence for God and for good upon the hell-bound multitudes of our citizens. When the work of God is stagnant, the nation stalls out, the enemy creeps in, and the future of the nation is threatened. All of that means is that we need a rekindling of the fire. We need to renew our vision and dream the dream again. We need to solidify our convictions, regain the courage to declare them strongly. The National Sword Conference is dedicated to helping families and churches. It is designed to assist leadership in their obedience to the Word of God, their pursuit of the will of God, and their diligence in the work of God. And then they have underneath that 17 preaching times with an exclamation mark. So we're going to be paying attention to it, following it. And if you would like to participate, hey, please just start tomorrow at 7 p.m. watching and taking notes. Whenever you have the ability to check it out, please do, and just take notes and just write down the date and the time, and keep track of your notes. And then maybe we'll compile them. And your notes don't have to be super detailed, just the basic idea of what the sermons were about and what stood out or what troubled you or what questions arose in your mind as you were listening. Now, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and look up the following website: swordofTheLord.com. That's all run together. swordofTheLord.com. That's swordofTheLord.com. And I think right from the homepage, you'll see at the very top is kind of their banner. And then underneath it, it will say, watch the 2023 National Sword Conference live stream here. So you can be ready and have that bookmarked where you can open it and access it starting tomorrow evening. I don't know when they'll start doing some live streaming. I'm hoping a little before 7 just to ensure that the live stream is working correctly. But hopefully somewhere around 7 p.m., the conference will begin. And I don't know what to expect. I'm obviously a little concerned when you've got when you're going to use 3 teaching times to basically go after Calvinism. Really? But okay, all right. That's fine. That they're not Calvinistic. That's all right. But I do feel it's going to be a complete obliteration of law and gospel. But we will see. But here is what I've always learned and I've always tried to do. Whether I agree, whether I disagree, if someone stands and opens the Bible, I may disagree with everything preached in the sermon, but I always try to find something that I can utilize then to go dig in, study. And I'm sure that if we listen to all the messages, between your emails saying, what about this? What about that? And I learned this and I saw this and I didn't know about this. And am I listening? It will turn into podcast episode after podcast episode after podcast episode where we will discuss it and we will turn it, even if it's a negative, we'll turn it into a positive. And let me give you an example of that. The 2022 National Sword Conference, sermon number 2 that was preached, dealt with Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. And last year they said that this was really the theme of the conference. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Therefore, whoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And they basically referred to the theme as being upon this rock. Upon this rock. And kind of really, we need the right foundation was kind of the direction they kind of went. Now, we've already reviewed the first message from the 2022 conference, and well, we definitely saw how they handled the text. I felt in a similar way, sermon number 2, they kind of handled the text in they didn't really... They just kind of took phrases from that verse, did not put it in the fuller context of the Sermon on the Mount, didn't even explain how should you interpret the Sermon on the Mount as law, or should it point you to the gospel, or do you just look at it as law which you can obey? Like they didn't even go into any of the major theological issues that arises from the Sermon on the Mount, but that's okay. That's okay. Because what I did is I just listened and I heard them mention something. And ever since I've heard it, it has stuck with me. In fact, I grabbed my journal and wrote down the phrase. In fact, was thinking about using the phrase tomorrow for a today's focus. However, my whole week is going to be in shambles. All right. So we got the roofing company who's supposed to be working on the roof, possibly Monday, possibly Tuesday, possibly Wednesday. So that could be just they're obviously from 7 in the morning to probably 7 at night. There's going to be no live broadcast because there's going to be hammering and noise, and there's going to be no way to record from this studio. Then also I have to get ready because I'm conducting a wedding on Saturday. I'm marrying someone on Saturday. So I have to go to the rehearsal dinner, then the wedding ceremony. I've got to make sure I'm prepared to say something. And, I got to make sure I'm ready to do all the things you're supposed to do for a wedding. So it's going to be a somewhat of a busy week. So I know that to be able to broadcast. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to do it for today's focus. And then I got really worried. I'm like, oh no, I forgot that the conference begins. I've got to at least talk about it because we did all of those other messages, right? I talked about the delivery of the thumb drive. We talked about the conference. We reviewed one of the messages. It would be weird. The conference begins and I just don't say anything. And then 2 days later going, hey, remember that conference I told you about? Hey guys, it was Monday. Where have we been? Okay. No, I needed to get everyone on the same page. So tomorrow night, the conference begins. swordoftheLord.com. Bookmark it. And if you can, listen, take notes, and email me all of your thoughts. I'd love to and again, it would be cool to compile kind of a PDF file of here's what happened in session 1. Here's what happened in session 2. Here's what happened in session 3. Here's what happened in session 4 and 5 and 6. So, and I don't think one person can watch it all. So you just watch whatever you can and send in your notes to newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com, and we'll take a little bit of your notes and a little bit of someone else's notes, and then we'll just kind of merge it all together into like a PDF file, and then everyone go, hey, do you want to know what happened at the 2023 National Sword Conference? Here's a PDF summary. Here's the Cliff Notes. What do you think? What does that give you any indication where the church is headed? Does it give you any indication where the independent fundamental Baptist Sword of the Lord world is? Does it give you indication where it is headed? Do you learn anything from it? And you may say, I don't learn anything, but I think we'll find out something. But back to what I was saying. The 2022 conference, sermon number 2. There was a phrase. I wrote it down right here. And I'm just going to play a clip where he gives this phrase, this idea. And I really want you to contemplate it, because he kind of says what he thinks the problem is in Christianity, but I don't know if he really offers a solution. And I'm curious for you to tell me, hey, that is the problem. That is the problem. And I know the solution, or maybe you're like, I don't know if that is the problem. Has that always been the problem? I don't know. But are you ready? I hope I have it queued up in the right spot. I thought I had our music queued up in the right spot. Did you hear that weird beginning? It started with it didn't begin when it was supposed to. Maybe you didn't even notice, but yeah, it wasn't queued up right. But that's okay. All right, here we go. Let's see if this is queued up. Here we go. 2022. National Sword Conference. This was sermon number 2 preached at the conference.
See, I think what we talked about one of the problems in America's churches today is the issue of dropout disciples. It's not that the word is not getting out. I'm looking at preachers tonight that I know rear back in the pulpits of America today and let her fly. I know you men do. It's not that the word's not getting out, it's not getting in.
All right. Now, he says one of the problems in the American church is that he's called them dropout disciples, where you have people just kind of dropped out of church and they're not doing anything for Christ. They're not doing anything. Dropout disciples. And he says the issue is not that the word isn't getting out, that there are preachers all across the nation, rearing back in the pulpit and letting it fly and letting it go. The preachers are preaching in the pulpits. The word is getting out. But the problem is the word isn't getting in. And because it's not getting in, then people are not being moved or transformed or they're just dropping out. Now, I was so immediately struck by that I wrote it down. Now, I listen to a lot of preaching. I listen to a lot of teaching. I do a lot of preaching and a lot of teaching. So there's not a problem with the word getting out. I think we've kind of talked about that, right? I mean, there's millions of sermons. They're all over the place. There's so much teaching out there that literally, I mean, there's no way you can say that there's a famine of the word and the word is not getting out. There's so much of it, nobody even knows where to start. I mean, it's just so much. But is it getting in? And if we say it's not getting in, then what is the solution to that? How does the word get in? Now, that was the second night of the Sermon of the Lord 2022 National Conference, the National Sword Conference. Yeah, now someone just said, that's interesting. I wonder if or how you could fix that. Yeah, I don't know. Because I would hate to say that, man, does the word really get... Now, first we would have to define what it means. What does it mean for the word to really get in? What does it mean for the word to really get in? I'm assuming they're going to judge that based on how it impacts you or based upon the level of transformation in one's life, right? Well, if you lack this much transformation, well, then the word is not getting in. Okay. Look, I think we can all agree. Now, for a new Christian, I can't speak for you. Well, because that was a long time ago. I think for a new Christian, it's different. I will at least say this. I think the Christian life, there are phases, right? I think as an early Christian, the word gets in because it's all brand new and you take it in and you take it to heart and you're convicted by it and you're excited by it and you want to tell everyone about it. You're like, did you see this? Can you believe that it's right there? Did you see? Oh, wow. I've never seen that before. Oh man, I've never seen that before. Whoa, that's crazy. Now, if you were raised in a Christian home, maybe you never experienced that. But for me, it was like everything was like, whoa, what? Wait, what's going on? Wait, what? What's happening? Like everything was, and it felt like brand new to me because, and I think that the word kind of gets in a little bit more, but I think we can agree that the longer you are saved, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And there's a part of you that will say, I already know that. I got it. And then I think there's a part where it just kind of bounces off of us. Familiarity breeds contempt. The more familiar you become with it, the more you just doesn't have that same power. Doesn't have that same hit. I think there's a little bit of that. I still don't know what the solution is. But how much of the word that you hear, in a sense, stays out, never makes it in? And who has to open the door to let it in? Is that you? Are you responsible for opening the door? Is it God has to do a work in us to get us to open the door? Like, that raises all kinds of other theological questions. I just found it interesting that the 2022 conference, the second message, he's trying to describe really the problem. And the problem is dropout disciples. And the issue is not that the word is not getting out. It's the word is not getting in. Now, I don't think he ever truly offered. Basically, his only thing was, we got to get back to the book. We got to get back. I think that's exactly what I was. We just got to get people back to the book. Well, you can get back to the book. That doesn't mean the word's going to get in. I mean, I don't know if he doesn't really articulate exactly what the solution is. Do you think the word is getting in? I would love to get your thoughts and your hypotheses, your thesis, your theory on that, and how you would define that or judge that. I just thought it was interesting that like the second night when someone kind of starts talking about the issues out there, that's how he described it. I do agree that it's not a problem that the word is not getting out. I do believe it's getting out. I don't think anyone can question that. But is it getting in? It is, at least. I like when people present a kind of a hypothesis or a question or a concept. I don't know. He may not have the answer. I don't know if anyone has the answer, but at least it's something to contemplate. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is here. It has arrived. The 2023 National Sword Conference begins tomorrow, July the 17th, 2023, coming to you from North Carolina, starting at 7 p.m. And I don't know which time zone that is. I'm assuming it's, look, here's the way I tell time. There's only one correct time, and it's Texas time. Every other time zone is fraudulent. It is apostate. It is deceitful, deception, lies, and it's of Satan. Okay. The only correct time zone is Texas. So when I see time on anything, I just know it means Texas time, because who would dare publish any other time, right? Who? I don't know. So I'm going to go at 7 p.m. Central Time because that's the correct time. All right. CT time, correct time. All right. All right. Maybe I don't, you may disagree. Okay. So I'm assuming it's 7 p.m. But tomorrow, July the 17th, 2023, the National Sword Conference begins. You can predict what you think will happen. Will it be good? Will it be bad? I know this. We'll have plenty to talk about. Should be fun. Give you something interesting to do on a week in the summer of 2023 other than studying Jeremiah, because you're supposed to be studying Jeremiah in the summer of 2023. But we'll take a little detour for this week and, listen to and keep up with what's going on at the conference. And whenever I can turn on the microphone this week, I will talk about something. I will at least do one episode whenever I can and talk at least something about the conference or something I heard or some of your emails in regards to it. All right. And it should be fun. Hopefully you will participate. Hopefully it'll be a good time. And because it's a national conference, I thought the only way to really kick it off was with our epic music. We only pull this out for epic occasions. So I don't know how epic the Sword Conference will be, but, to hype it up a little bit, to have a little fun. So let's end this kind of preview with our epic music queued up in the right spot. Everyone have a great night. I hope you will enjoy the conference and take good notes. I do love the fact that they're streaming it for free. And so let's take advantage of it, whether we like it or whether we don't like it. I'm sure we can find something in it that we can use for our own spiritual edification. And think about that concept. Is the problem today not that the word is not going out, that the problem is that the word is not getting in? And if so, how do you assume or how do you suggest we fix that? All right. To get you ready, to get you excited, here is our epic theme music to close out this episode.